Yo.
What's up? It's your
What's
boy, Zoops, with my man, Dopey, back at you again with another podcast.
Don't call me that.
You don't like the word dopey? I mean, everyone knows that you're a dopey.
No.
A bit of a dopey fella. So,
It's in the past.
is it in the past? I think some people still call you dopey. Just a bit.
Not many.
I still do. I just love that nickname. It's just all about you. Anyway, do you want to sort of introduce us into the world of sports and what we'll be discussing this fine evening?
Yeah, jam-packed show today. Bit of UFC on the cards this week. Basketball, as always. Brand new F1 track this weekend. Little bit of soccer news, and then we got an interesting debate at the end to finish. It's basically going to be a versus battle between a couple of TV shows.
Well,
comedy
yeah.
themed.
It's a very heated debate for me because of my culture and my nation. But yeah, I'm sort of excited to see what is coming up in the world of sports. The playoffs are currently going on, so that's a big topic of discussion. But there's also some news in football that Oscar's not too keen on, but I am, because it is to do with probably my favourite sport. So yeah, there is a lot to get to.
All right, roll the intro.
There's no intro, you idiot.
That'll do.
Is that soprano music?
That was just...
it's like a murder scene in a fucking gangster
For people
movie.
that don't know, my phone's connected to this thing, and I just had Spotify playing, and that's whatever song was on there.
Nice, dude. That was a good snippet. I liked it. It's a bit intriguing.
Yeah.
Anyway, first topic. What would you like to introduce?
All right,
with?
we'll start with the B-ball, I guess.
The basketball, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't understand B-ball means basketball, then
Well, some people aren't that learned.
you're not wanted here.
Okay, basketball.
yeah.
Start with the current games, or sort of maybe predictions for the end of the round?
Current games, what do you mean?
Well, the previous games already happened, or sort of projections.
Yeah, we'll
for
start
the
with what's
future.
happened. Midst of the second round right now. Celtics leveled up the series this morning, 1-1 with the Bucks. A lot of people, not a lot, but some people thought that series was over after the first game. But Boston dominated this game, and I think they're probably in with a good chance at winning now, because I think their depth is a little bit exposed. Milwaukee without Middleton there. And obviously Giannis, I don't think he had his best game today, but I think there's still questions when he doesn't have help around him in the playoffs.
Yeah, it was a really tough game for the Bucks. They never started. It was really, I think they were losing 22-3 at the start or something ridiculous like that. It was a really, really tough start, and it just felt like an atmosphere game. It felt like the Celtics were sort of riding with the crowd, and the Bucks couldn't handle it. And Giannis started off really poor. I think he started off 0 for 7, had to get subbed off early, and it just wasn't a great game for the Bucks. But I think the people that thought it was just going to be a short series after that first game, just maybe a bit deluded, because everyone predicting the series coming up even would have said, you know what, this is going to a 7-gamer. This is going to be an extended series. It's going to be a great series. Now, the games itself haven't been that interesting, but you can tell it's going 6 or 7 games. This series is not going to be over in 4 or 5. Well, it's obviously not going to be over in 4, but it's not going to be over in 5.
Yeah.
So I'm really intrigued to see what happens in Milwaukee. I think that's another really a team that uses the crowd really well. Great atmosphere in Milwaukee. So it's going to be interesting if they can take 2 games at home, or if Boston can steal another one. But seeing off, based on what I saw today, I have a lot more faith in the Celtics than I did probably a couple of days ago.
Middleton's been ruled out for the series.
Again, tough loss. You've Drew Holiday's got to shoot more efficiently. He was not great efficiency-wise for the Bucks.
He's never really been.
He never
guy,
is,
to be
but
honest.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough. Guys like Grayson Allen, Brook Lopez.
You're relying on Bobby Portis now.
Well, it's not relying. I think
you need him to play like he was in the regular season, which is.
I think
a big
they just have to rely on them to perform to their ceiling and perform to the moment. I don't think they sort of asking Bobby Portis to average 20 and 10, but maybe
I think 15 they'd ask for.
Well, 13 and 8 on good efficiency. I think that's what they're asking. Same with Brook Lopez, Drew Holiday, maybe 20 and 8 on good efficiency. They're asking these guys to perform at the peak of their peak of what they can perform at. So I don't have a sort of waning belief in the Bucks because of today's game and because of their lack of offense. Because I do think they can find offense. It's just whether they can. It just becomes sometimes with the Bucks. I don't like Budenholzer when he does this ISO ball. It just seemed today as well. They just got into this rhythm of just running Drew Holiday one-on-one, running Giannis one-on-one. It just seemed like they got into this rhythm of really bad, stagnant offense. And they need to improve the ball movement and get their good role players some open shots. So yeah. I think it'll be a tight series, but it was just a bad look for the Bucks today.
Yeah. Game currently going on, Warriors versus Memphis. First game was very close, but it wasn't a great look for Memphis. That's probably a game they had to win if they want to win this series. Pretty much everything went wrong for the Warriors, and they still managed to win. I mean, like there was I don't know if you think it's controversial or not, but the Draymond ejection was a big talking point. Yeah. Big talking point. A lot of people didn't agree with the ejection, but I think that's just today's NBA. Unfortunately, it's a soft league, and things like that don't really fly anymore.
Well, it was a flagrant based off reputation. I think if that's anybody else or a guy that has a clean reputation, sort of what we're seeing in the NRL at the moment. If it was a guy with a clean reputation, that would have been a flagrant one. But and I think the drag down with the jersey was more to support the guy. I don't think it was even to.
I think he would have been all right if he didn't grab his jersey.
Yeah, but I think he was trying to sort of uplift him. But yeah, I never thought the Grizzlies were going to win this series. Now, I'm not going to be hypocritical and say that I thought the series was never over in the Bucks Celtics after one game, and then say after one game of Grizzlies and Golden State the series is over. I'm not going to be like that guy, but like you said, a lot of things went right for the Grizzlies, and they couldn't capitalize on it. So it's a bit of a worry for them. And the series never really come into play or come into life or death scenarios until Game 4. Game 4 onwards is when series really... I mean, from personal experience last year with the Clippers, I mean, we were horrible first two games of every series, but we managed to win series. So it's not over yet for the Grizzlies, but they're going to really have to...
But the Grizzlies aren't the Clippers.
Yeah, they don't have the talent.
The Warriors just have too much experience to go up 2-0 and let it slip away. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. I tend to agree, even though I don't like calling a series after one game. I do think it's going to be really tough. You have to have guys that are playing career best form, and Warriors and guys like Klay Thompson.
Clay was awful.
You're going to have Klay play bad for the rest of the series, and guys in Memphis play to their sort of peak performance. But I do think that series was kind of made for the Warriors to win, and I do think the Warriors had a very easy way to the conference finals. Where they will either face the Dallas Mavericks or the Phoenix Suns, which I'm guessing is the next team, or
Miami, Philly, but we can do Phoenix, Dallas. So obviously you picked Dallas
again. One game. It's not.
I mean, yeah,
this series is going a long way. I don't think it was a bad.
Well, when I was watching that game, I thought, not a great pick.
Well, it's one game. Again, I'm not going to sort of judge a series off one game. Phoenix looked good. Dallas looked horrendous outside of Luka. He scored 45 points and they didn't win, which is a worry. But
that's what I said.
But I think they scored 114 points. So it wasn't the offense that was a problem. It was even with Brunson and Dinwiddie not shooting well, it was a defense which has been good all year. You can call that a one-off game if you have a good defense all year and the first round of the playoffs, and then one game you don't play good defense. You've got to assume that at some point
it's matchups. It's that they can't.
After one game, you can't judge matchups though.
They can't guard Aiden. How is that going to change?
But one game, you don't know if they.
Maxi Kleber's not going to magically grow 6 inches. How can it change?
I understand what you're saying. However, and the Clippers did face a couple problems with guarding Aiden in the Western Conference Finals last year, but I still think that the Dallas Mavericks are underrated in this series. And look, I said it was a wild shot to make the finals, but I do think they have a chance to because of the offensive power that they do have. They can, if Brunson and Dinwiddie pull their weight, they probably win that game. So even with Ayton going off, so it's not really a concern. It's a concern, but it's not really a serious game-changing concern for me because I do think they can make adjustments, and I do think it's one game. away from home. And if they steal the next one, Dallas are up in the series or have an advantage in the series. So
Yeah.
I do think it's very early in that series. And I always thought it was going to be a 6 or a 7 game. I don't think, even if you thought Phoenix were going to win, I don't think that you thought they were going to win in 4 or 5. But yeah, it's going to be sort of interesting to see if Dallas can play big, because Phoenix have shown an ability to outbig you when you go small, if you know what I mean.
Just if they go small, they just need to hit their shots, basically. They need Finney Smith, they need Kleber, they need Dwight Powell to hit shots from the outside, because they're just getting destroyed on the inside. And that was my argument coming into the series, was I think Paul and Aiden will do enough to beat Brunson and Dinwiddie. And in game 1, that's exactly what happened. Because I just don't trust them. They haven't done it in big scenarios yet. So I think it's.
But I trust Luka more than Devin Booker.
But I think that. But we saw what happened. Luka went off for 45. You can trust Luka, but it's not. Like he can just win you the series.
I saw him nearly win the series multiple times against the Clippers.
But this is the best team in the NBA.
Well, this is this is a much better Dallas team than it was last year, and they nearly beat a Clippers team with Kawhi Leonard, with a fully healthy Clippers team. So, look, I do think that Dallas, it would be sort of a overstatement to say that they're favourites to win it, but I do think that Dallas...
they were your favourites. Can't backtrack.
Well, they were... No, I'm not saying they were my favourites. I'm saying that I picked them. Yeah, I did pick them, but I'm not saying that they should have been favourites to win it. I'm saying that talent-wise, I think they're underrated, and I think if Brunson and Dinwiddie can play the way that they've been playing so far in the playoffs, they can win that series. I don't think it's that big of a stretch to say that Dallas can't still win. It's one game. I'm not going to sort of abandon
Phoenix in 5.
Yeah, but I'm not going to abandon my judgment based off one game.
Okay. Well, yeah, that would be stupid. I would never abandon my judgment, even when we've lost.
Yeah, you don't abandon the Lakers, so you're not going to abandon...
I never abandon judgment. But yeah, last series, Miami-Philadelphia. Obviously, Miami took game 1.
This is a different scenario for me. Even though it's one game, with Embiid being out and Harden looking like he's a honey bun.
Yeah, I think that was another question. I want to say, is it time to say Harden is officially washed?
Well, I did see this over ESPN. I did see that sort of topic go around. And I did see an interesting sort of topic brought up by, I think it was Nick Wright or Colin Coward. It was someone like that. And I did think it was quite interesting. This is a guy who went flat out, right, for 5 years, playing 80 games, playing 40 minutes a night, going all out. And then all of a sudden, he has a major injury. And I don't think that his body, or him himself actually, has adapted to that injury. I don't think he has been able to rehab that injury successfully. And he still looks slow. I don't think he's lost skills, or he doesn't have the dribbling ability or even the shooting ability that he once had. I still think he's a great passer. But he doesn't have that quickness and that sharpness that he once had before the injury. Before that, I think it was a hamstring.
Yeah, is a hamstring a major injury?
It's a pretty big injury. It's on your leg.
But it's not like it's
not a ear cut.
It's not like you need surgery.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still rehabbing from that injury when you've never had an injury before. I do think he's not washed, but he has to become a different player. He has to become.
Well, what other player can he become?
He
hasn't really shown much.
A second or third scorer, but the primary playmaker. That's what he can become. Chris Paul used to score 20 points or 22 points a game.
But I don't think James Harden can play the way Chris Paul does.
He's not as efficient as Chris Paul.
Yeah, I don't think he has the efficiency, the turnover ratio.
I think he has the ability. It's just going to be interesting to see if he can.
Yeah, but the facts are he's significantly underperformed in game 1. For what his team needed. What did he score? 15 points, 16 points?
Yeah.
Something like that. He's got to be scoring 30 at least.
He can't, though. He doesn't have he can't go by he can't go by people anymore.
Well, then he's washed.
Washed? I wouldn't agree with washed, because I think that's a bit extreme. But I do think past his best is definitely. And he can either turn into Russell Westbrook or Chris Paul. I do think he can become more efficient and become a primary passer with an ability to score. But he needs to change his mindset. He can't keep on thinking that he's the number one guy. He's going to do 20 dribbles in one sequence and then do a step back 3 He just can't do that anymore. He can't do 20 dribbles and then drive past defenders and then throw an alley-oop to Clint Capella. It's not 2016 anymore. He's got to change his mindset. And I don't think he was a problem necessarily in that game. DeAndre Jordan was minus 22 in that game. They were Philadelphia were plus 13 without him.
DeAndre Jordan isn't meant to be on the floor. He's only there because Embiid's out.
Do you see what Doc Rivers said after the game? We don't care what people say. We're going to play him anyway. I'm going to play him all series no matter what. And everyone's just like, oh my God, Doc, not again. Not again.
He was good for me in 2015.
Yeah. Back in the day when the Clippers were good, he could
he's more than deserving of these minutes.
Yeah. Again, my problem with Doc, I always say...
If you're getting waived by the Lakers...
Yeah, if Frank Vogel can realise you're not good enough, mate, it's time to bench the guy. Yeah. I mean, Jesus. No, but I think the point is that Doc Rivers has never been able to make adjustments in playoff series.
No, but who do you want him to put at centre?
Anyone. Paul Reed was better than him at centre.
I think he got more minutes, though.
Bam Adebayo's a smaller guy. You can put... I don't know, Paul Millsap. I mean,
I was thinking Millsap, but
you can drag out a Paul Millsap.
Millsap's probably going to do the same thing.
You can put. I think he's better than DeAndre. But look, it's just Doc Rivers got to be able to make adjustments, and he's never been able to do it in his entire career, at least with the Clippers, and so far with the 76ers. It's just an absolute travesty that he's been playing DeAndre Jordan. It is just weird. He couldn't play for the Lakers, and they were starting Stanley Johnson. It's ludicrous that the guy starts in a playoff series. And I think if he continues to start, they have no way to win.
Well, they're saying Embiid might be back for Game 3.
Well, it was an orbital fracture, so his eye. So would he be able to see the basketball?
Yeah.
Would he be able? Would his vision be back to 100%?
It's not like you go blind.
I know, but would he have to cover half his?
Well, he'll probably wear a mask.
I don't know. It's an interesting one, but it's whether I think Philly has to win one game. I think they have to steal the next because if you go down 2-0 and Embiid's not fully 100% and you lose in the next game, the series over. You've got to be able to win one of the next two at least.
Yeah.
And you'd ideally want to win it before Embiid comes back. In that case, if you win one, if they win the next game, and then Embiid comes back and he comes back to his best, Philadelphia can easily win this series. It's just whether Doc can make adjustments and take DeAndre out of the game, and if Embiid can come back fully healthy.
Yeah.
So I don't. Again, one game. I'm not saying it's over, but there are clear warning signs.
And I think without Embiid, Bam was probably the best player on the floor in that game. And easily
guess who was guarding it, buddy?
Yeah, easily the best game of the playoffs for him so far. So he's really destroying them in the paint.
You've got DeAndre Jordan guarding him.
Yeah,
I mean, you could score on DeAndre Jordan at this point.
Lowry was out. Jimmy had probably his worst game of the playoffs so far. And they still won pretty comfortably. So
bench points was a real factor.
Hero played well.
Again, they were still competing. I think they were up one at halftime.
Yeah.
But it just felt, I think the commentator sort of tapped into it as well. It felt like they were slowing down the Sixers. It felt like the Heat had more energy, more depth, and they could just rotate in another team. They could rotate in Oladipo, they could rotate in Strauss, and they could bring in these guys.
Strauss.
I mean, Strauss is a good shooter. I don't know why Strauss came. It's spelled. I don't know, bro. Who's called Struess? It's Strauss.
Him.
Okay. Anyway, you bring in those guys, and it feels like. I can imagine what it feels like if you're on the Sixers and you're like, oh God, we got to. I thought their star players were coming out. They got Oladipo coming back on. It just feels like they had a constant wave of attack that the Sixers just eventually couldn't handle.
Yeah, and Sixers are bringing on George Niang.
But I don't think it's over. It's just going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. Doc has got to change.
Doc has got to change.
I don't think he's ever done. And if Doc loses this series, surely nobody can hire him. He can't get a job anymore.
He will get a job. I promise you he'll get a job.
How?
Because
I'd love it if the Lakers got him. If you
win a championship, you can have a job for the rest of your life.
Frank Vogel won a championship.
I think he'll get a job
somewhere. Well, again, did Frank Vogel win a championship? Wasn't really real, though, was it?
I think he'll get a job somewhere.
Oh, God. All right. Moving on.
We'll touch on a team that got eliminated in the first round. The Utah Jazz.
Booty butt Jazz.
Yeah, so Rudy's been quite vocal since the exit, talking about, I don't know what I'm reading on Instagram is accurate or not, but it's talking about he's basically saying to the Jazz, it's me or Donovan, you choose.
Donovan. It's a pretty easy choice, mate.
If I'm Donovan, I'm saying please choose Rudy.
I'm saying please choose me. I want to get out of this shithole, please.
No, yeah, I'm saying please choose Rudy to stay
and
me to go. I think Donovan was considering requesting a trade if they were to lose this series. I think he should request a trade. Get the fuck out of there. I mean, it just doesn't work. You can't win with Rudy Gobert. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's bad enough that you're in Utah. I mean, it's not like he's in LA and he's like, well, maybe they can fix this team and maybe they can sort of. He's in Utah. It's not like he's living it. He's not like he's.
Yeah, Conley.
High life.
Conley's going down. Bogdanovich is going down.
Yeah, they've got an aging team with their second best player cannot defend anyone shorter than 7 foot. It's very scary how they've been beaten the same way every year. It sounds like I was tearing up.
Like, whoa, that's a bit emotional.
It's like they lose every year. They break my heart. But no, it was very embarrassing how they lost the same way again. How Rudy couldn't guard anyone on the perimeter. How Donovan is just chucking up shots.
He looks stupid when he looks like he's just pirouetting for 20 seconds when someone's dribbling around him.
I don't know why people don't do it in the regular season.
Like you're better off not changing direction, mate. Just stand there because you're doing circles and just losing.
And the
everyone.
fact that he was a defensive player of the year candidate is a goddamn disgrace.
Yeah, and you can see that he's scared to leave the paint. Like his man is wide open in the corner, and he just doesn't want to leave the paint when they get the ball. He's trying to contest from the paint. He's trying to reach them from the paint.
Like Stretch Armstrong. I got the arms. Don't worry about it.
He's actually scared to leave it, which is fair enough because he gets his ankles broken every time he does.
Yeah.
But
it is definitely time to blow up the Jazz. I just don't know what you'd get. Like, who would? Maybe you get a Mike Conley suitor, maybe, but his salary's unbelievable.
I think I heard
you'd have to take on a bad salary.
I think I heard the Warriors were interested in Gobert for Wiggins.
Jesus Christ, I'd do that trade tomorrow. Even though I don't love Wiggins as a player, he's still better than Rudy Gobert. I think the Jazz are in one of those positions where they know they have to blow it up. It's sort of what Portland were for a long time, but they were never able to pull the trigger. It seems like the same thing. It's just whether they can pull the trigger.
But but the thing is, like their values are at an all-time low right now. Even Donovan.
Yeah,
it's probably the lowest it's been in years. But
this is what happens with the Jazz. They get hyped up during the regular season every year, and they just disappoint in the playoffs because they're not built to win in the playoffs. And I don't think Donovan is that good of a first option. It's not like if he had, I don't know, a Paul George, or he had a really good second option, he had an elite level second option, I think they could win, or he could win a championship. But he's not. He's not a LeBron James. He's not going to carry a team as the best player. And there's a big drop off to the numbers. Even LeBron James struggled when he didn't have an unbelievable number 2. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Jazz do and if they're willing to pull the trigger. I probably suspect not. I think they're going to keep Rudy. I think they're going to keep Donovan. They might move Bogdan and they might move Mike Conley, but I think they'll keep those two together, which I think is a mistake. But that's what you do when you sign Rudy Gobert to $150 million.
Well, if one of them requests a trade, then you got to move him.
Yeah. Well, who wants to take Rudy's contract? Who would want to take that contract?
I'll take it for Westbrook.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. He's got like 4 more years left on that deal.
Yeah.
You ain't taking that.
I really want to get rid of Westbrook, but Gobert is probably my most hated player.
He's like, I'd get rid of Westbrook for anybody apart from Rudy. So yeah, that's. I think that's the end of our NBA discussion. Great chat.
Yeah.
Excited to see what happens in the next week or so. But yeah, lot to look forward to.
Yeah. Okay, we can move on to some
Miami
or UFC.
Paul Pogba.
No, that's last.
You want to do all right? Do Paul Pogba last. Fine. I reckon we start with Miami. Is a
Miami
F1. Obviously first time in Miami. After last week, quite a boring race. But, I mean, that's not really the driver's fault that you didn't have DRS for half the race. So, it wasn't a sort of interesting race, but it's going to be interesting to see if Mercedes can finally produce a car that can drive beyond maybe a school speed limit. That would be ideal.
In Miami, they drive pretty quick on the streets, I heard.
Yeah, Miami. But I think what's your predictions for the race? Do you think it's going to be
just same as usual?
Same as you think it's still going to be Ferrari, Red Bull?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to see otherwise. I don't really
I think this race
want it to be between Ferrari and Red Bull, but I'd love Merc. Even though I'm not a huge fan of George Russell, I'd love Lou. Good old Lewis.
Lou?
My brother's called Lewis, and it's the same spelling, so that's why I call it Lou.
Okay.
But yeah, I would like Lewis Hamilton to sort of push up the ranks. I don't think he will, though. I think he's really struggling with this car. I think George Russell is doing a great job, but again, he's had experience in recent years with some pretty shit cars, and this car must be like God to him. It's like, oh my God, in comparison to a Williams, but Lewis Hamilton's had like the best car on the grid for 7 years in a row.
Yeah.
But I'm not too sure how it would go. I think that I think Sainz is due some good luck. I think he might do well.
Mm-hmm.
He's looked really strong.
Fair point.
He's looked really strong, but he's just had really bad luck. I hope, obviously, as an Australian, you hope Danny Rick, the good old Danny, Danny Boy is going to perform.
Danny Rick's had some bad luck as well. So Sainz
it's less bad luck, more idiocy. Your P6,
that one mistake was his fault.
You qualified in 6th, and you go first thing you do, you bump into Carlos. I mean, it's not the smartest move, is it? And you could get top. You could have got 3 and 4th maybe if you didn't crash. It would have been good points for McLaren.
I think this race is more about just being in Miami.
Yeah, it's a good culture, atmosphere.
The atmosphere, saw Danny Rick on the talk show the other day.
I don't like how there's so many races in, because there's going to be 3 races in America, am I right? Because it's going to be Austin, 2. But it's going to be Vegas, right? They're bringing
is that this year?
No, I'm talking about next year maybe. Because I think there is going to be 3 races in the US.
That's what happens when sport gets bigger. It goes to America.
Yeah, but why does it have to be in Austin?
Because that's like the historic race. Austin, it's always been in Austin.
Yeah, but I mean, that's where like the stupid guys do. That's where what's NASCAR? That's the stupid thing that they do. Where they just drive around in circles and call it racing.
They do that everywhere.
Well, but that's where like the mecca for it is. But I don't know. I'd like it just to be in Miami and Vegas. I think F1 is more of a flashy sort of sport. I don't want it just to be in 3 races in America. It's just a bit too much. But yeah, I think it'll be a good evening.
Hopefully Jorge Masvidal doesn't run into anyone there.
He's going to be him or Darren Till. You either one. You might be having a few punch ups in the nightclub. You don't want Danny. I mean, Danny Rick is a bit of a larrikin, so he might get into a bit of a punch up.
Danny Rick would never hurt anyone.
Yeah, but I think it'd be a fun sort of weekend for the drivers, and hopefully Danny Rick's finishing first and he can celebrate go on the piss in Miami. Mm-hmm. That's a dream.
Right in Miami, he'd be the biggest dude over there.
Who?
Danny Rick.
Yeah, of course.
If he gets
Danny Rick is the most popular F1 driver. Obviously.
Yeah. Okay. We'll move on to the UFC. Big card this week. Pay-per-view.
You say that every week.
Well, no, I don't.
Every time we talk about UFC, big card.
Well,
who's fighting?
Yeah, that's because we only talk about it when it's pay-per-views, and pay-per-views are always big cards.
They're not.
They are.
I mean, this is a decent one, but big is sort of reserved for Conor McGregor. And
no, it's not.
And
that's very casual. Very casual.
Is it? Oh, that's massive.
Big is reserved for one person. No. Big is reserved for title fights.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Gaethje Oliveira. Who do you reckon is going to win it?
This is pretty much a flip of the coin fight, in my opinion. I mean, Oliveira's... A lot of people are starting to realize how good he is, and a lot of people are starting to think that he'll win this fight. I mean, there is some similarity to Poirier and Gaethje and how they fight, but Gaethje's probably a little bit more wild, probably a little bit better wrestler than Dustin. So I think there is definitely a chance for him. We know Oliveira's chin is not the greatest. Obviously, he's been dropped a lot. But, to be fair to him, he's come back from it and finished the dude. So I think there's definitely an opportunity for Gaethje to hurt him. It's whether he can finish him, because no one wants to go... Once they knock him down, no one wants to go into his guard, right? So you have to knock him out cold. Obviously, if Oliveira gets a hold of him, he'll submit him easily, but I really have no idea who to pick, to be honest. I'm going to go with Gaethje, though.
I do have a sneaky suspicion that Gaethje wins. I'm not going to lie. But I'll pick Oliveira. I think Oliveira looks a better fighter. Gaethje's had some up and down sort of performances against top guys over the past couple of years. Oliveira looks solid. I'm going to pick him. He's got a cool hairdo. I like it. He doesn't speak much English, but
yeah,
he's got a cool hairdo.
It's not that hard to learn English. You gotta
it is pretty hard. It's probably one of the toughest languages to learn, probably. But if you're going to fight in a English-speaking probably company, it is.
Yeah,
it's probably more.
Okay, co-main event. Rose Namajunas defending her belt against Carla Esparza. Now, long time ago, but this fight is a rematch. Did you know that?
I've heard of Esparza for a long time. Esparza.
So she was the first ever strawweight champ, and she beat Rose for the belt.
Yeah.
So,
well, I remember back in the UFC 2 game. So I do remember Esparza. That's how I know her. Exclusively.
That's how I remember. No soccer players. So
football players, and that is embarrassing to say that. It's one thing to say about women.
About UFC.
Yeah, it's one thing to say about women UFC fighters. It's another thing to say about football.
No, it's not.
But I think Rose wins. I think Rose is I haven't watched much of Esparza, to be honest. But I
Do you know what she does?
She fights, no?
Is she a striker, submission wrestler?
She looks a bit stocky. She looks a bit built in the shoulders. I'm gonna say she's a bit of a wrestler. Yeah,
she's a wrestler.
Yeah. So see, I got it.
Yeah,
but I pick Rose because she's got a bald head. She looks mean. She looks like she gives no fucks. She's gonna pop her right in the chin. I
mean, yeah, there's no doubt if Rose can keep it standing, she's gonna piece her up and win. The striking's on different stratospheres, really. So yeah, I think any smart person would pick Rose. They've come a long way. I think the first fight was 8 years ago.
How old is Rose? Rose looks like 24.
She's 29 now. She's still pretty young.
She was 20 years old or 21 years old.
Yeah, she was super young. She was super young when she started.
All right, so my favourite fight, I think, of the week, because it's Tony Tuesday. The madman himself, Tony Ferguson, up against Michael Chandler.
Tony Ferg coming back for his next brain damage appointment against Michael Chandler.
He's just a psycho. He's going to keep on fighting till he's 60. And then he'll die.
No, Dana will cut him.
No, he'll fight anyway. He'll fight in the hills he'll fight in the Himalayas. He'll fight in anywhere. He'll run with wolves or whatever he does. He's an absolute nutter.
Yeah, but big fight. Obviously, crowd pleasing fight, fan favorite fight, but there's a lot of stakes attached to this, even though it's probably not direct title implications. Like, if you win this, you're probably not getting a title shot. But obviously, Tony's on a 3-fight losing streak, and Chandler's on a 2-fight losing streak. Now, they did fight the best in the division. Obviously, Tony losing to Charles, Gaethje, and Beneil Dariush, who's also very good. And then Chandler obviously lost to Oliveira and Gaethje. So they lost to the 2 best guys in the division, and then Dariush is probably the 3rd best guy. But for Tony especially, the thing is the performances were not great. They were pretty dominant victories for the other people.
Chandler was more...
Chandler Gaethje was fight of the year. That was an incredible fight. And then Oliveira, he dropped Oliveira in the first round, but Oliveira obviously won. So Chandler's fights have been close, I would say. Like, Tony just has been utterly dominated.
Well, Tony has never been a guy that wins on points. He's always a guy that does some weird...
Well, he has.
Well, I think he's also...
He's usually a slow starter.
Yeah, he is usually a guy that sort of creeps up and just uses his superior endurance to knock out another guy. My heart says Tony, because I love me a bit of Tony, but I think Michael Chandler's got too much. He's just... When you watch him fight, he's a lot more polished. I think Tony... How old is Tony now?
He's like 38.
Yeah, he's getting a bit older, Tony. Yeah, I'm a bit sad about Tony because he was supposed to be the champ. He was a chosen one. He was a chosen one. He was supposed to be the champion. I just wanted to see more press conferences of Tony, and he should have fought Khabib. Never materialized, and I think it's just one of those fights that, as a fan, you wanted to see.
Yeah.
And he's never looked the same since that press conference. Really, he lost to Gaethje as his next fight. I'm pretty sure since that last to be.
Well, it was meant to be Khabib Tony. Khabib pulled out. Gaethje stepped in.
Yeah,
it's
very sad, but hopefully Tony can win. Sort of have a bit of a resurgence in the last.
I wouldn't count on it.
I'm not counting on it, trust me, but I'm praying to every Jesus and God known to man that Tony can sort of climb up so we can see a championship level press conference and he can knock out anyone really. I do think Tony's. I did say this I think a year ago now that Tony was in the same sort of category as Conor and Nate, that they're going to be in the big name fights. They're not going to be sort of competing at the top level, but they'll fight. I think Tony could easily fight Conor next year.
Yeah, but the thing is, Tony's just too delusional to think that. He still thinks can be the best in the world.
Yeah, but I do think he'll take a Conor fight.
Obviously,
imagine that. Press
but I don't think Conor would take a Tony fight right now.
I think he would.
I don't think he would, especially if he loses to Chandler. If he beats Chandler, I think that's a possibility. Conor Tony.
Yeah,
I think Conor fighting whoever the winner is, I think is a possibility.
I don't want him fighting Chandler. I think he loses to Chandler.
Actually, it's probably not because he said he's only coming back at 170. So,
really,
yeah.
Does he not realize that he's bad at 170?
He must.
Do you not get that memo?
Clearly, he doesn't. He wants the Usman fight. So,
not very smart though, is it? Anyway,
no, it's not smart.
Looks like a decent one. It's not as big as you proclaimed it to be, but
it's not. It's probably not going to be the biggest card of the year, but it's a good card.
Hopefully Tony can win and Gaethje can upset Oliver. Gaethje is the underdog, right?
I haven't checked the odds, but
are you gonna throw a cheeky punt on it? Yeah, cheeky geezer.
Nah,
cheeky fiver.
Not confident either way on that one. So
you're not even $1. You know, classic $1 30-leg multi bet.
No,
you're not gonna do that.
No.
Ooh, okay, that's a bit off the pace for you. Usually you're all over them. The $1 30-legger.
I haven't done them in a while.
You've been betting a bit bigger now? You've been doing
more of like a $5 3-leg man.
Oh, the $5 3-er?
The 5-3.
You got to go big or go home. It's got to be at least 20 legs, buddy.
20 legs?
It's got to be at least 20.
Then you're just guaranteed losing money. Now,
not if you win.
Now, I am losing the 3 legs anyway, so I may as well do the 20, but...
but if you win big. It's like winning the lottery.
You do, but you don't win, do you?
It's like doing a bit of pokies, mate. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose.
I hate the pokies. Because it's luck. In sports
That's
betting,
luck.
In sports betting, it's educated guessing.
Anything over a 10-leg multi is dumb luck, mate.
Nah, not if they're all massive favourites.
Okay, how much would you get for a $1 10-leg multi?
It depends what the odds are for the legs.
Yeah, I guess. But anyway, I'm hoping that Tony can win and sort of resurge into the greatness of the UFC championship belt and fight Conor McGregor for the undisputed, lightweight?
Yeah.
Lightweight championship of the world. But, again, my brain is a bit back in 2016, so that will
never happen
again.
I'll give you $1 million if that happens.
Okay, next topic, my compadre. Paul Pogba.
Paul Pogba, big news here.
Just a quick rundown, but you're just an idiot.
You're not going to believe it, it's Manchester United news.
Well, I'm a Manchester United fan. Can I not discuss my team?
I don't even know if there are any other clubs in soccer anymore.
Do you want me to discuss other teams? Okay, Liverpool won, which is depressing. Everything else about football is depressing to me. Even Manchester United is depressing. Everything about it is depressing. I can only focus on Manchester United because if I look around, all my rivals are doing well. So it's not really going that well, is it?
No.
So I'm not gonna be. Oh my god! Do you see Liverpool win? That was so mad. Dude. That
was sick, man.
See City are in a Champions League semi-final. Oh, you see Arsenal are gonna get top 4. Oh, how good's that, man? How sweet is that? No, I'm not very happy about it. But according to Damasio, he's a pretty reputable news source. He's Italian, if you can believe.
I can't believe he's Italian.
He's sort of suggesting that Pogba, even though he may want to leave, there may not be any other options in terms of the salary that could be offered.
Is Pogba even? Is he still hurt?
It's
or is
hurt.
He just not playing?
It's hurt. It's a bit. Yeah, I'm hurt, guys. It's a bit of that.
It's a bit of a Ben Simmons.
It is a bit of a Ben Simmons, to be honest with you. It's not as egregious because he's not out for 8 months. But yeah, Damarcio is suggesting that clubs like Real Madrid, Barcelona, maybe his priority clubs, aren't interested in him because of the salary that he's demanding. And Manchester United are the only ones that are willing to pay the amount of money that he's probably wanting, around probably 300, 350 grand a week. It's a lot of money.
Pounds or
pounds?
Euros?
Now PSG are an option, but again, they don't have a head coach for next season.
700k a week. That's a lot of money.
It is. It's more than NRL players make in a year.
3 mil a month.
Yeah, it's more than any Penrith Panther player makes, mate. I'll tell you that for nothing. But the situation is, I've always sort of believed that he might go to PSG. It's obviously France's his home.
PSG just fuck. If you're a big name and you're going to PSG.
Again, the problem is then there's going to be a new manager there because Pochettino has failed miserably. So, and the reports are suggesting that Kante could be leaving Spurs to go to PSG.
Wasn't he already with PSG?
Kante?
Yeah.
No. So,
damn it.
He might go there. Now, Kante is a well-known hard man, if you know what I mean.
Well, Messi ain't going like that.
Well, I guess, but he's going to want hard workers in that midfield. That's what he's known for. That's what he's had throughout his career. Pogba isn't that. He's a more finesse player. He's a guy that's going to pull off wonder pulls.
Yeah, but you just pair him with someone who is like that.
Maybe, but look, the whole thing is it is up in dispute because he doesn't have many suitors that can pay his salary. And the only viable one is either Manchester United or PSG, and PSG don't have a coach. So it looks like, even though I still believe it's unlikely that he'll stay, I think it's gone from about 10% chance that he stays up until 30% chance he stays. Because Real Madrid, a lot of these clubs maybe wanted to go back to Juventus, but they don't have the money to pay for that because of obviously COVID and what's happened. They are not. A lot of these clubs are still in debt and can't afford.
Yeah, they couldn't keep Ronaldo. So.
Yeah, they can't afford to keep these players. So Real Madrid, Barcelona, Juventus, Milan clubs, they can't afford those 350 grand, 400 grand a week wages.
About like Bayern or something.
Bayern never pay those wages. Bayern are notoriously they're stiffing Lewandowski because they don't want to pay him a lot of money. So they're not going to pay Pogba Lewandowski's money. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see if Pogba is going to stay. I mean, I can't imagine.
Do you even want him to stay anymore?
I don't, but it's like he's talented enough. Maybe Ten Hag. That's how sick I am. It's because I can see the talent there, but he's just.
Well, he at Juventus, he was maybe the best midfielder in the world.
No, he was the most talented midfielder in the world. He wasn't the best. He was like. Let me compare him to an NRL player. He's like
Ponga.
Yeah, it was like Kalen Ponga. You watch the Knights because of Kalen Ponga. You watch Juventus because of Paul Pogba. But he's shown it in flashes. He wasn't necessarily the best player all the time, and he wasn't. I mean, he had a great team around him. Let's be real. So, look, I still think he either goes to Juventus or even Juventus maybe, but I still think he goes to Paris. I think that's the most realistic club out there.
He wants to go home.
But I think there is a chance that he stays, which is not really that. I think a lot of Man United fans are out on the guy, to be honest with you. So yeah, it's a whirlwind, mate, to be a Man United fan. It's an absolute shithole of a whirlwind. And yeah, hopefully
I am a Man United fan, so you know.
You're not really though. You're a fake one. You're one of those plastic ones. Hey, when we do well, you're like, glory, Man United, and then you're shit. We're like, who's Man United? That's kind of what you are.
Pretty
Paul
much.
Pogba, is that his name?
No, I know Pogs. I know Pogsy. Well, Bruno, I don't like
Bruno Fernando, is that his name? Fernandez. We did well on the weekend, so that was a plus. But anyway,
who did you beat? Brentford.
Yeah. Good win. Mata played well.
I said Mata should be on the park.
Mate, he can't play for more than one game in 2 months. That's his limit. He can play one game in 2 months. That's how gone he is. But anyway, do you want to move on to the next segment? Because it's just depressing to talk about the shithole of a club that is Manchester United.
All right, we'll move on to today's debate. So, yeah, it's going to be a debate between shows. We're just going to try and argue which show's better. And that's about
Do you want to swear on the
premise
Bible?
of
Do
it. you
want to swear on the Bible?
Sweared.
No, but you got to like hold it. Just be like, I swear this show is better.
I swear this show is better.
Do you want to say the show, or is just going to be like, I swear this show is better? What's your show?
I'm doing The Office.
If you don't know the Bible, it's Alex Ferguson autobiography. So you think which Office though? This is
I'm going to do US.
the US Office.
Yeah.
Now I'm saying the
or should I? Nah.
don't be pissing about, mate.
Yeah, I'll do US.
US Office.
Just so it contrasts a bit.
I'm doing in-betweeners. And it's comedy shows, okay? So it's not necessarily... We pick two shows of our favourites growing up as kids. I obviously like the US Office. I'm not going to sort of say that, but I won't. How about you go off first? You give me a 1 minute sort of monologue on how or why The Office is better.
Okay. Well, why is The Office better? Because it is, all right? Point number one, it is. No. Okay, so the US Office is 9 seasons long, all right? So it's got longevity over the in-betweeners. More episodes, more content,
Doesn't it?
more great moments. The highlights of The Office are immense. The characters are incredible. Michael
They're
Scott.
immense.
Michael Scott is the greatest comedic character, I think, ever created. Number 2 is probably Dwight Schrute. I think Dwight Schrute is the unsung hero, or not unsung, he's probably one of the most popular characters, but...
He's not even the best on The Office.
Dwight.
No, Michael.
Oh. Yeah, I think Dwight's probably the best.
Ricky Gervais's character is better.
He's not in the US Office.
You're talking about the overall Office.
No, I'm talking about US.
Yeah, but you said of all time in any comedic standpoint. And I'm saying
Nah.
even the UK, even Ricky Gervais was a better comedic. All right, sorry, you go.
Yeah. But yeah, the reason Dwight was so great is because he was so dumb. But it was just believable because the amount of scenes and character points they put into this character, you just understood what he was thinking and why he was so stupid. Obviously, there's also love in this show, an aspect that the In-Betweeners don't really touch on too heavily. I mean, Pam and Jim.
Are you kidding me?
That's a great love story. The In-Betweeners don't touch on love, all right?
They touch on love making, I'll tell you that for nothing.
Not love. Pam and Jim, a great love story. 7, 8, 9 seasons of it. Incredible stuff. What else have you got in The Office? Just great side characters. I mean, Oscar, the Stanley, the...
That's why you picked it. It's because there's a character with your name on it.
No. Definitely not.
All right.
There's also celebrity appearances. Will Ferrell.
Like, I give a fuck.
All that. You're happy to see him. Andy Bernard, that dude, was in it at the end. Didn't really like him, but, I guess he was good. But, yeah, I think The Office is better because of the scope of the show. Much bigger. The In-Betweeners is a bit crass,
Okay. Are we 12-year-old girls?
Oh,
Are we 40-year-old Christian mother?
Yeah, that was
Oh my God, I cannot watch this because it's so crass.
Yeah, that was a bit dead. But The In-Betweeners is a good show, I can't argue The In-Betweeners isn't good. But
your argument...
But The Office is more iconic. And it has more laugh-out-loud moments for me.
No. So your argument is that bigger is better. Well, you should know that, Oscar, many women don't think that. Okay? It's all about the motion in the ocean. Bigger is not always better. I'd like to sort of predicate my argument based off that. Look, In-Betweeners is a mode in which us as teenagers could relate to societal problems that we have. It was a comedic outlet that we could relate to, and it was so hilarious because we all knew people like those characters growing up. And in terms of comedic sense, in terms of what is a better comedic show, I get The Office is bigger and has celebrity appearances, and it's cool, and it's fun and dandy, and it's American. But the In-Betweeners, from a pure comedic standpoint, in terms of making me laugh more, I can guarantee you probably laugh more at the In-Betweeners than you did at The Office.
I think I did.
Based on an episode-to-episode basis, I think you laugh more on the
In-Betweeners definitely has good moments.
It is the funniest thing. It's got pranks. It's got hilarious characters. The characters are way more hilarious. Is Andy Bernard funny? No.
No, he's the worst part of the show.
How funny is Oscar and Angela? How funny are those guys?
Oh, well, when Michael's roasting Oscar.
Yeah, but that's Michael. I get the characters are so funny on the In-Betweeners, and
The-
I just think that
It's those side characters aren't the funny part. The funny part is the side characters and them getting roasted for being the way they are.
I just
Using the side characters as the joke.
look, I guess it's because, and look, I'm not saying that different people relate to different things. So, what's that? I'm going a bit off topic here, but you know the guy who rates music?
Fantano.
Yeah, Anthony Fantano. He doesn't like J. Cole. And he 2014 Forest Hill Drives and Wet Dreams especially, he doesn't like that. But as a teenagers, we love that. And I love that song. And I love that album because it relates so much to me growing up as a kid. And
Does it?
I'm not talking about that song specifically, but I'm talking about the overall album and the connection that it has because it relates to me as a teenager, and teenager problems growing up. And I feel the same way about this show, that because of my age and because of your age especially, because we're the same age, the comedic value represented...
especially.
Well, it's both of us, really.
Yeah.
Its relevance and its comedic value to us, I think, is a lot greater. So I think you're lying. I think you honestly believe that the In-Betweeners is funnier. Anyway, the integration into culture. What is The Office's culture?
It's a workplace.
Yeah, but it's not integrated into culture.
It highlights how fun it can be at a workplace. You
Well, it does have similarities, but
dead-end job, 9 to 5 every day in an office, sitting there
but the
doing
In-Betweeners,
nothing.
it's
They somehow
so
made it funny.
inbred in youth culture. How many people know a J or reference you being a J in friend groups all across the world, really?
I don't know. I couldn't do the maths on that, to be honest.
I don't think you could either, but it's a saying. But anyways, I just think that the overall character base, the culture associated with it, and the pure comedic value on an episode-to-episode basis, and the scenarios that they went through in school and how funny it was, how they were losers, but they acted like they were big man tough guys. And I guess it's also my nature a bit, my comedic sort of liking as well. I prefer the UK Office and David Brent's character because I like that awkward, and there is a bit of awkward comedy in The Office, obviously, with Michael. But when Michael left, I think all that comedy went with it. The In-Betweeners knew when to finish. It finished early because they knew...
But
if they get older...
They knew when to finish, but they only had 3 seasons. And I think that you have to take that into account. There's not as much content. They didn't do it for as long.
Yeah, but...
I think if you do
they realised that the TV show...
year after year, that means something.
They realised the TV show had reached its peak and it was time to end it. The problem with The Office was when Michael left, it turned into boring. I mean, they're just a bunch of random characters that no one cared about. And then Pam, the most overrated character in television history, I'll have you know. I despised Pam.
Blasphemy.
She was the biggest... I won't say that word. She was not a very good person. Point blank. Look, it's underrated, I know, but she used Jim, and then when she broke up with... She cheated on her fiance, that's one thing. But she also used Jim in different ways, used him emotionally. And then when he had a girlfriend, she tried to break it up by using him emotionally again. It was a lot. And then when they finally were together, and he wanted to chase his dream, she was like, no, stay in this shithole with me.
Because you're a family. You can't just leave your family.
He was working in his dream job. Let him be free. Let him be a man. Let him make money for you. Anyway, I think she's a bad character. The problem is... Any
wife would have the same thing if your husband is leaving your child for an extended period of time.
My point is, The Office never knew when to... I think it ended way too late. And I think the past, sort of the last couple seasons, weren't nowhere near as good as the early seasons. And the first season wasn't good. The first season of The Office was poor.
Well, the first season was just a reenactment of the UK Office.
But they couldn't do it in the UK type of humor. They couldn't emulate it, and it was poor. That's
why it was poor.
First season of the In-Betweeners
because they weren't being themselves.
Yeah, but the first season of the In-Betweeners was bad. So I'm saying, if you look at the whole show, the In-Betweeners was only good. I'm saying you look at...
What about the movies? Are they good?
We're talking about the TV show here.
It's part of it.
Well, the movies were funny as well, but we're talking about the TV show. If you look at the whole TV show, the In-Betweeners was good. The Office had a bad start and a bad end. It was decent in the middle.
I think the end was good. It was just...
No, it wasn't.
I think it was good.
How?
Because I enjoyed it.
Your least favourite person on the show became the boss. How did you like the last?
And then he didn't become the boss.
It was just, it felt like they were picking at straws constantly. And I think the show should have ended when Michael left. And when Will Ferrell was singing, 1,000 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's when it should have ended, when he left and he had that emotional... I actually did shed a couple of tears when... I'm not saying it's not a good show.
In-Betweeners doesn't make you cry.
We're talking about comedic
The range
value.
of emotions.
We're talking about comedy shows.
Thanks for giving me an argument. The range of emotions The Office provides.
Yeah, but we're talking about comedy.
Just destroys.
We're talking about comedy.
No, we're talking about the best show. They're just comedy shows. Which one's the best show?
Okay, I can highly.
What about the 7-season joke between Michael and Toby? That shit is hilarious.
Cool.
In-Betweeners doesn't have any recurring jokes like that.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
But Simon's hair. That's not a recurring
Simon's
joke.
hair.
Yeah, how he had spikes in his hair.
That's
That's
just
not a
how
recurring
that's just
joke.
how he does his hair.
Will having it being a briefcase wanker. That's not a recurring joke.
That's just what people call
what
him.
I'm saying is that at its highest, The Office was great, but at its lowest, it was horrendous. And there were moments in it where it wasn't great, and it became, especially at the end, it became a bit of a trek to watch. And it should have ended a lot sooner, and they made mistakes in it. I'm saying the In-Betweeners throughout the entire series was unbelievable, and from a comedic value standpoint, it never dropped off. And they knew when to call it quits, and they did. That's what a good TV show does. It doesn't ruin the ending. Now, in terms of storylines, they didn't necessarily ruin The Office. But in terms of how good the show was, they ruined it.
What even was the In-Betweeners ending? They didn't have a great ending. It was just like nothing.
Yeah, but it was a comedic show. You're talking about like a final 20 minutes. I'm talking about the entire show. It was an unbelievable show. They all went off to... It was a happy ending. They all went off to different places in life. And that was what happens. That was a realistic depiction of how... And I get The Office is kind of realistic. Not really, but it's kind of, because it depicts a workplace office. But the In-Betweeners was so relatable because it's about having this group of mates who you laugh with, and you laugh about these stupid jokes that you guys do and the stupid things that you guys do. And then after school, you spread apart, and that's how it ends. And I felt like the ending was a lot more natural. And I'm going to be honest, if The Office would have ended when Michael left, it would be a lot closer. And it'd be tough for me to sort of sway the other way. But it ended poorly. And comedically, it dropped off dramatically when Michael left. And even in Michael's last couple, a season or so, he wasn't at the best that it was. Season one was
pretty good. Season
1 was poor, and the last couple seasons were poor.
I mean, they were probably lesser seasons, but I don't think they were poor.
Look, comedy shows, In-Betweeners is better. I don't know.
No, I think The Office is better. Like if you said, do you want to watch an episode of The In-Betweeners or The Office? I would say The Office.
No, you wouldn't.
I would.
No, you wouldn't.
I definitely would.
If you're with a group of mates and you want to have a piss and you want to laugh about a fucking TV show, you're watching The Office? Yeah, sure.
I'm talking about with my son.
You don't have a son, you idiot.
If I had a son. That's also another thing about The Office. It has a wider demographic, right?
Cool.
That makes it better. It reaches a greater audience. In-Betweeners is relatable for our age.
How is The Office relatable to a kid?
It's relatable to adults. And there is way more adults than there is people in our age.
Good.
Okay?
Good evaluation, man. There are more adults than
that
kids.
Good
job, buddy.
So yeah, suck on that.
It's not a good argument, though, is it?
It is a good argument.
I'm saying the overall comedic value is better. Are you saying that adults can't laugh at the In-Betweeners?
I think there's more jokes.
Adults can laugh at it.
I think the array of jokes in The Office is greater. They talk about political issues, societal issues.
How cool.
In-Betweeners, all it is just sex jokes. The entire show is just sex jokes.
It's not entire jokes about sex jokes.
It is.
It's about them being losers and them being bigger than they think they are, and them trying to get with girls. There are sex jokes, but it's not all about sex. It's about sort of their struggle. It's about struggles of a teenager
trying to have sex.
No, not just about that.
The whole show is them just trying to have sex.
No, it's more about them being popular than sex, I'd say. But The Office, I think more adults can laugh about the In-Betweeners too, because it reminisces them and it reminds them, and it's so nostalgic about how they acted when they were kids. So I think a lot of adults found the In-Betweeners very funny because it sort of brought them back to what they did when they were kids. And I think it has a lot. It's a lot more deeper than it shows on the surface. In between, it's a lot more deeper, and it gives you a lot more deeper feeling than the Office. The Office is like it's more like Modern Family. It's entertaining to watch.
It's better than Modern Family.
Well, it is, but it's like of that ilk. It's entertaining to watch, but you don't get any deeper feeling.
It's a high production sitcom. That's why it's.
But the In-Betweeners.
The In-Betweeners is like a low budget, Yeah,
but In-Betweeners feels like a deeper connection. It feels like you're connected to it. It's part of your culture. It's definitely part of English culture, but an English sort of schoolboy culture. So I think that the In-Betweeners as a whole is more impactful and it's more comedic. And over its entire series, it's got better quality. Over the entire series, it's better comedic value than The Office, because The Office had serious points where they were in a downturn. And I like The Office.
I think if you just, there's definitely aspects of the In-Betweeners that are better, but I think if you look at everything, just not just comedy, if you look at story arcs, how the comedy's introduced to the show, the length of the show, the span of the show, everything the show touches on, I think that The Office is more of a complete show than the In-Betweeners. It has more to offer.
Well, agree to disagree. Agree to disagree, my friend.
Well, that is the point of this.
So let us know what you think. I obviously think the In-Betweeners is better, and it's more comedic, and it's more funnier. Well, this does not make sense, does it? It's funnier. And The Office had serious downturns, which you are ignoring and you're not accepting.
Well, I promise you, if the In-Betweeners went 9 seasons, it would have some downturns.
That's good though, because I realized that if they did go 9 seasons, then it'd be shit. And
it's not like themselves.
It's not like they ended badly at the end for The Office. It started badly. It wasn't good at the start, and it really. I mean, I don't know how they extended it past the first season, but I'm glad they did, because it's a great TV show. But it did start off pretty badly, didn't it? And the In-Betweeners started off pretty goddamn well. That's all I'm gonna say. Have you laughed more at the In-Betweeners or The Office?
The Office.
I just don't believe that, do I?
I've had uncontrollable laughing at The Office.
I've had uncontrollable laughing at the In-Betweeners, and I know you have as well. So
I probably have at both. But I think more in The Office.
I beg to differ, but anyway, that was a good sort of discussion to end it. Let us know what you think. Do you want to send us out?
Yep, I'll do it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like, and comment and subscribe. Oh, there's nothing there.
What are you doing?
Roll the outro.
Stop fucking doing Kid Leroy. Is that Kid Leroy?
Yeah.
Stop fucking playing Kid Leroy. No one likes Kid Leroy. I should have done that when you were making your stupid comments about the
This is what The Office made me do.
This is what Office last season made me feel.
Really? That's funny.
Oh, that's blocked by Jim. That's what I was doing after every episode of the In-Betweeners.
Oh, really? You're clapping?
Yeah, I was like...
It's a bit strange to clap at your computer.
But I was enamored by it. It was so unbelievable.
I think that says more about you than the show.
No, look, good debate, but I think I'm right. So, do you want to send us out?
Yeah. Peace out.
A-Town.
Subscribe.